Welcome back to the Profit Scaling Podcast, guys. It is my pleasure to have Martin here with me. He is the founder and CEO of Optimum Ability. He is literally turned athlete, entrepreneur. He's trained to run 100 miles and bench 405 pounds. It is such a pleasure to have you here and just to dive into like health, longevity, how you view it. Because I think you have a really cool take just from what I've heard about it.
Yeah, thanks for the intro, Jay. It's great to be here. I'm super excited to kind of jump into everything health related and longevity and just kind of share more about optimability.
Yeah. Well, amazing. I'd love to begin with a little bit of like, how'd you get into like health and fitness? Like take us back to that moment.
Yeah, it's a great question. So I've always been pretty healthy, pretty fit my whole life. I have this video like I think I was like 5 or 6 years old, me and my grandpa just kind of killing time in the summer, and got a camera, he's filming me doing like pull-ups, push-ups, handstand, like all these different like movements. I was always kind of into gymnastics. So it's been like a lifelong thing for me. I've always had the knack for it. But only really until like 15 years old, I joined the gym and I went from like 100 pounds to 180 pounds within like 3 years. So yeah, it really, really blew up. That's when it really started to become like my life. And then quickly kind of evolving from there. I was playing lacrosse for my high school, and they put us in the weight room, and I was like, not a big fan of being in the weight room, but it is what it is. I'll do it, do what I got to do. And eventually got to the point where I was just hopped onto the bar on bench press, and I could bench press like one plate, so like 135 pounds with
Okay.
never really doing it. Yeah, and so I was like, "Whoa, this is weird." Like all these other kids are struggling with like the bar and like 25, and so I guess I kind of knew from the get-go that I had the genetics for it. I was born in Bulgaria, so I
Hmm.
know there's a lot of Bulgarian weightlifters and powerlifters that have it. And kind of just kept evolving from there. And eventually I went on to do powerlifting, broke a couple records in powerlifting, went first for the country. And then yeah, I just kept
Wait,
spiraling, doing
hold
more
on. What
endurance.
one second. What were your weights? Like what were you actually lifting in powerlifting? Because I don't think people realize how much you lift in powerlifting.
Yeah, so I don't remember exactly the records that I broke, but I remember my all-time records, and I think yeah, so 405 bench is like the number one. It's like the one thing that I always
Yeah.
was like striving for. I've squatted 515 pounds, and then I've deadlifted 550 pounds. So yeah, that's what kind of put me in the lead for a lot of those powerlifting competitions. And then COVID hit,
Yep.
and there was nothing that we could do in terms of gyms. I didn't have enough weight to, incur adaptation to my body for more growth. And so, like being the competitive person I was, it's what can we do? You go outside and run, bike, you can swim. And so I started doing Ironmans.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
One elite fitness thing to the next. I love it.
Yeah, exactly. And so I did my first Ironman in 2022. I did another one in 2023. And then now I'm working towards 100 miles in September. So I'm 3 weeks out. I'm in the peak of my training right now. So I'm a little fatigued, but I'm getting it done. I'm managing.
That's good. That's good. So what does it look like to train for like running 100 miles? Like what does that even look like?
Yeah, I mean, I'm really what they would call a weekend warrior.
Hmm.
So, throughout the week, I'm really focused on growing optimum ability and building the business, running ops, sales, marketing. And for the most part, I don't have so much time to train throughout the week. It's more of like, you get maybe a 5K or 10K a couple times throughout Monday to Friday. And then Saturday, Sunday comes around. And, for example, last Saturday, I think like 3 days ago, I ran 60 kilometers. And then Saturday before that, 50 and 42. So it's been a lot, pretty much a marathon every weekend minimum. And then Saturday is kind of like you shake out the legs, you do maybe like 10, 15K. So it's it's really
Casual.
just a lot of
Okay, you know. No.
I mean, yeah, when you're, it's relative.
Yeah,
When you're doing 60K and you do 15 the next day, it's like it's whatever, it's easy. So
like jog.
yeah, it's a lot.
That's awesome, man. So that's really cool, and that kind of flows into how do you balance being like an athlete or doing these intense competitions with running a business?
Yeah, I mean, I'm really blessed and lucky to have the environment that I have, and optimability itself, like it fuels me. So not only does it physically fuel me, like, we have chefs and trainers and masseuses like actually doing my meals and my recovery, helping me with my training. But like mentally, it's throughout the week, it's my passion. I love to do it. I wake up, I'm excited to jump in and just like build more things, get more work done. So it's really like this combo of the two, and it's a beautiful, just such a good combo to really bring me up, no matter like how fatigued, how tired I am. I know my systems are rock solid, so that's all I really need. And then from there, I'm just following the actions day in and day out, pretty much like running one foot in front of the other. You eat your meals, you take your supplements, you sleep good, you train good, you recover. So I'm doing a lot of sauna, cold plunge, and from there, you're just waiting for time to catch up.
No, absolutely. And so I'd love to explore a little bit more of your philosophy around like how you built your company and like what you actually do. So maybe just go into a brief overview of like what Optimum
Sure.
Ability is, and then we can dive a little bit more into how you formed it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So optimability, it's essentially, we've tried to come in and tackle the unholistic nature of health and health companies. And so we combine a very comprehensive service where we do all of your testing from blood work, DNA, gut microbiome, DEXA scans, fitness tests. And then once we accumulate all that data, there's thousands of data points that we've plugged into our software. We actually have specialists. So we have a doctor, a geneticist, a nutritionist, a trainer, and then these people online come together to form your protocols. So you have protocols for your fitness plan, your meal plans, your supplements, mobility, sleep. And from there, you really, the cherry on top is where we automate it. So we have in-person teams for you. So we have a chef that cooks all your food. We have a masseuse that comes to your house to do your massages, your recovery, mobility. We have a housekeeper to help tidy up, save you some time, and then obviously a trainer that can help you learn about the technique, the movements, help you, keep you accountable. And that system kind of comes together. And what we like to say is we just make it impossible to fail.
Amazing. That's absolutely amazing. So logistically, what does that look like for your clients, or like who is it usually you're working with? It sounds like super high end professionals, but I'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, I mean, it's being honest, it's not a cheap service, right? It's very hands-on. I think the minimum, I guess like the best way to qualify it is like the minimum type of person we work with is somebody that's like at least a seven-figure entrepreneur.
Mm-hmm.
And we have entrepreneurs that as high as like 9 and 10 figure entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
And so that's when it really makes sense to outsource your health, because your time is worth so much more than our cost to outsource your health, that it's a no-brainer, right? It's like, why would you spend time grocery shopping and cooking food and cleaning up? And like, when there's somebody that has packaged the solution for you and it just installs into your life, that's when it really starts to add up as like very valuable. So anyone that's 7 to 9 figure entrepreneur, business owner,
Mm-hmm.
we have a couple guys that have done big exits.
Right.
That's our typical market.
Yeah. No, because it sounds like something, it's just like, well, naturally, I'm always a proponent of like health, fitness, and anything you can do. Especially, I haven't even gone the way of like testing like you do, of like looking at the DNA and that. Like, I'd love to explore that a little bit with you. But the mere fact of like when you're on that, of like, you're eating right, you're working out right, you're like, you've customized things towards you, it actually can improve your business so much. And I think that's like, of course, you're saving a lot of time, but I think it also just leans into like, it makes your companies more valuable too. It like allows you to work, it allows you to like operate at such a high level, like continually, and be healthy while you do it.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's one of the major things we've noticed. And I guess we haven't really um, talked about, but a lot of the people that we've worked with, for example, we had a couple of our first clients, this was maybe a year and a half ago. They're big in the capital markets. And we started working with them. They're doing about 6 figures a month in revenue. And it's been about a year and a half, completely transformed their health. One of the guys, he's grown about like 32 pounds of just mass. So he looks like a whole new human being. It's absolutely unreal. And when you have that newfound confidence in your health and the way you conduct yourself and just the energy, you start to do things differently. And so within that year and a half mark, they've grown to, I think, just about 7 figures a month in revenue.
Wow.
So yeah, they really
Next baby. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So they're really like whole new people, whole new human beings. And I think that's having control of your health is really what brought it together for them. And yeah, it's amazing what you can do once you have kind of locked in.
Yeah. So I'm curious with the protocols. You mentioned like you do DNA tests, you do like customized things. Like how does that actually play into someone's like health and fitness?
So the main thing that we are looking to achieve with all this data is we just want to know exactly what's holding you back. So whether it's your bloods or your DNA, or your gut microbiome, we need to figure out, what's going to be the most efficient protocol to get you to point B, whatever that goal is.
Hmm.
And so with the testing, it's really just a way for us to have a tangible piece of, concrete data that we can monitor and track over the course of a year. And from there, we can really see, for example, like a lot of guys come to us with very low test levels.
Hmm.
Like we have record low test levels in men, especially entrepreneurial men, because like it's so easy to burn yourself out and like work and work and work. And your cortisol, if you have too much cortisol release, and your testosterone is gonna, it actually blocks the signal for testosterone production. Similar things with like estrogenics in the environments, like a lot of plastic, a lot of different just bad things causing your hormones to not function properly. And so we really like using data because it's like you're not shooting in the dark. I'm not just giving you some generic fitness plan. I'm giving you everything you need based on this data that your body is giving us that you need to succeed. And from there, it's really like the proof is in the pudding. It's just execute and you're guaranteed results.
That's incredible. So I know you mentioned like personal trainers. Is it like do you have them go to gyms? Do you have them do it at their head? Like what does that look like? Because I've done like all the variety of like fitness things, but I'm just curious what you usually recommend or what you've seen success with for your clients.
Yeah, I mean, it really depends on the client. I think for the most part, we have the trainers kind of come to the client's home gym or a building gym, but we really like we very much believe in the community aspect of health and fitness, and so we highly encourage people to book in with a CrossFit gym or like a recreational gym or just even a lot of I don't know if you're familiar with Equinox, but a lot of guys will just go to Equinox, and that's like the community there. And so it's really, it depends on the person, but for the most part, fitness can be done anywhere. Like we have people that could even do it in there. You have a floor, you maybe have like a pair of dumbbells. That's all you need, right? So we identify that first, and then we just build the plan for them based on what resources they have.
Yeah, incredible. Because I know that's and just I did want to hit on this because not everybody knows cortisol like it was basically the stress hormone. Like if you're super stressed,
Mm.
is that right? Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Yeah, incredible. Because I like, yeah, as entrepreneurs, it can be a little stressful sometimes.
Mhm.
So I think that's great how you're basically bringing in all these health things that actually boost up tests because then you can actually have like all the energy to continue going and not feel burnt out or not feel so drained continually. So yeah, I think that's great. And I'd love to go into, I don't know if you've done any more research of like what are the biggest things that you've seen to boost those like test levels it like in men.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many things that you can do to boost natural testosterone.
Hmm.
I think that the first step ultimately is going to be the elimination of garbage food and garbage environments. A lot of different processed foods, you're going to see things like different like emulsifiers like carrageenan or xanthan gum, like just like these products that are in so much food. You kind of want to eliminate all of that out of your environment, out of your system, and think about food as like did it exist 1,000 years ago? We're very much biological creatures, and the more we try to fill our bodies with food that's just chemically and very poorly processed, then starts to really cause damage and deteriorate your body. So I think that the first step is elimination. So really making sure that you can eliminate all the bad food, make sure it's all whole foods, organic, healthy. That's like the first step. And then from there, it's really like you keep building those foundations. So sleep. If you're not sleeping 7, 8 hours a night, you can expect your testosterone to be low, like automatically. And so if your sleep is not dialed in, maybe get like an Oura ring or a Garmin, track your data, see what your data says, and then improve it. And then you can just keep building on the block. So, if it's like a pyramid, you got the foundation set, and keep stacking. And then you can even start supplementing. Um, there's a whole bunch of things you can do for having like the raw materials for your testosterone. So with the way that testosterone works is you have LH, your luteinizing hormone, and FSH, your follicle stimulating hormone, signal from your pituitary gland to your testes to produce testosterone. And so a lot of guys, maybe these two signals don't work very well. So you could take supplements that fire these signals back up. You could take supplements that provide you the raw building blocks like DHEA. So it's really, it's difficult to give a concrete answer of like this is going to boost your testosterone when in reality you just have to know what's holding you back so that you can strengthen those weaknesses.
For sure. And I think it's so huge how you hit on that. It's like the data. If you have the data, then you can close those gaps and get to where you want to be. Um,
Exactly. Yeah.
so how did you come up with this idea? I mean, it's pretty revolutionary. I haven't like there's not a lot of people that understand like how comprehensive what you do actually is unless you've like known health. And then it's like, oh, of course, it like everything's in between. So how did you come up with that idea?
So it started about 2 years ago when I was a fitness trainer in a gym, and I had clients that would come in, I would train them in person, and it was great for the most part. We had clients that had amazing results, and they gained 30 pounds in like a couple of, a year, and then you have clients that kind of they're stagnant. They're like, gain like a pound here, lose a pound there, but they're not really making very much progress. And so with me, in terms of my competitive nature, I wanted to pursue this and really help people and really create value for these people. But it was frustrating because, I wasn't consistent with my results. And I was like, what is going on? Like, why can't I get these people results? Like I'm doing the same things for them. And it really came down to the fact that it's not all about training. And the problem is when you're a fitness trainer, that's the one variable you really control, and everything else it's up to them. So then they would go home, eat horrible foods, sleep shitty, drink alcohol, and just like destroy their body. And then they would come back to the gym the next day thinking that one workout is going to
We're not
get them
getting
back.
muscle, man. Yeah.
Exactly. And so there needs to be a better solution. And so my co-founder actually, Eon, he's also a high performance athlete. He came to me with this idea, and it was a similar thing. He was also a fitness trainer. He's like, yeah, I'm just frustrated with this. Like, we need to figure out how to make it more holistic, how to bring it all together, like everything in one. And then we slowly over the months crafted the offer that exists now, and we titled it Optimal Ability, kind of like a play on words, optimal ability. And yeah, it's just been a journey ever since, like really honing in on what's important, removing the junk, and then just, scaling from there and making it better and better as much as we can.
Yeah, absolutely incredible. Um,
Mhm.
like as the results can speak for themselves, and I just know when people follow plans, like it gets results.
Yeah.
So with that said, let's say someone's not quite at the level of like they're not quite at the like 6 figure entrepreneur. Like what would you recommend? Like what are the most massive like change like maybe small things they could do that would have like exponential effects for like their health fitness journey?
I would say the number one thing you can do is master your sleep. So I like to say this a lot. My sleep is my superpower.
Mm.
And, because I have like the Garmin and the Aura, I'm regularly scoring high 90s, like 100s every night. And because of that, I'm recovered. I feel good. Like, I ran for 8 hours on my feet 2 days ago, right? And I'm functional back at work. I'm hitting the gym after this. Like, I'm very much able to keep going and continue on. And I think that by mastering sleep, you have the ability to exert more output, and from there you're really just like a very efficient machine, and you're just going, especially as a man in your 20s. You need that power, you need that output. So sleep, master that. Figure out nutrition. This similarly to how we thousands of years ago, we were hunter-gatherer tribes. We had to hunt for our food. We had the hunters, they had specialized knowledge on weaponry and fitness and the animals and things that you could, where everyone's going to hunt. You need to kind of adopt that same mindset into the way that you approach nutrition now. So when you're going to the grocery store, you're hunting. You're going to find food for yourself, your family, whoever it is, and you need to know what's poisonous and what's actually good and what's proper food. So, anything that's like typically within the shelves of the grocery store, like most of the time, complete garbage. Yeah,
Mhm.
if it can sit on the shelf for a couple of months, it's not real food. And so it's like everything around the grocery store, produce, meats, dairy. These things are really what's like the foundational building blocks of your nutrition. And then I guess finally the main thing is fitness. And so it's like anything that you can do for half an hour a day even is going to exponentially boost everything about your body. Like one of my biggest beliefs is that fitness is a necessity of life. We are very much biological creatures, and if your fitness isn't being potentialized, or you're not working on it, then you're just kind of wasting that potential. So my biggest thing is strength. If you can build strength over the course of your life, not only are you going to live longer, you're going to live better, and you're just going to feel better overall, have more confidence. Your muscles are going to be stronger. It's really a no-brainer. So get your sleep mastered, figure out your nutrition, know how to hunt, and then get strong. That's all you need.
Let's go, dude. Be badass. Yeah, I love it. I love
Yeah,
it.
thank
Um,
you, man.
yeah, amazing. So as you're building this company, what do you like? What's your vision for the future? Like, where do you want to grow it to, or like, what do you want to transform? Like, how do you want to transform the world you already are?
Mhm.
So I'd love to hear a little bit more about your vision.
Yeah, so I really I love this question because I really think that there's a gap in the market where health is not easily accessible. You have healthcare from doctors, but then you go to your doctor because you want to be healthy. And for the most part, they say, "Oh, here's this pill," or right now, what's really trendy is here's Ozempic, and it's like take this shot every once a week or a couple of times a week, and you're gonna lose all this weight. It's just gonna go away. And so it's not really getting to the root cause of the
Yeah.
problem. Yeah, it's just like band-aids. So I want to revolutionize the way that people can control their health. And so that's the next phase with Optimum Ability is we're creating the software where, maybe you don't want to spend a couple grand a month or five figures a month on your health, and you just want to do it on your own. We're creating a software where you can plug in all these different specialists, and everything is centralized from the meals, the nutrition or the fitness, the recovery, the people that are in your life for your health, and really just you have the control to make it your own. And in that regard, I want to revolutionize the way that people approach it. I want optimability to be pretty much the apple of health. And with this in mind, I think that over the years, over the next 10, 20, 30 years, people are becoming more and more aware of how the mainstream like processed foods and media and these big food companies, they're not really looking after people's health. They're more so, they're trying to maximize profits. Like they don't care if they, cut costs here for this ingredient and, lose quality here. They just want to make more money. So I think as people slowly start to realize that, they're going to become more in control, or they're going to want more control of their health. And what better place to look than Optimum Ability, where you can centralize everything about your health. You don't have to look in like 10 different spots and go to your doctor to give you prescription. Everything is going to be in one spot, so you don't really have to worry about how am I going to do this. Well, here you go. Here's the plan. Here's the software. Use technology to your advantage.
Just like just type in your body weight and what you want to get. Like that's it.
Exactly. Yeah. AI is gonna we're gonna introduce AI in there, and so it's really gonna be your own health assistant that just like knows everything that you got to do, and you just do it now.
I think that's fantastic, especially because there is like just because a lot of things like everything's accessible already. Like if you wanted to, like anybody can go do it. It's just the confusion that I think is like been brought about by that of like, well, what's my like number one step? That's why I love you said is like, hey, sleep, like get your sleep right, like get your I forget what the second one was, but I remember the last one was fitness. Oh, food and fitness.
Yeah.
Um and and yeah, and that can be so much more helpful because then it's just like a done for you of like just plug it in, like everything's taken care for you. Um,
The, I think the biggest issue there is just the data. Like people, it's easy to follow that new trendy diet, like the carnivore diet or being vegan or whatever. And it's like, how can you trust and rely that if there's zero data that you're working off of?
mhm.
It's like, with business owners, it's like running an ad that, you just keep running new ads, but you've never looked at the data of like what's performing. And it's like, why would you even waste your time? Right. So
Yeah.
it's similar.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Amazing. So going diving back into like how you like grew your company. How I know you like you came from the training background.
Mhm.
Like what have you done to actually grow to where you are today?
Yeah, I mean, the major thing there was the service was, the results spoke for themselves.
Hmm.
And so I would say about 80% of our business growth is just organic.
Hmm.
We get into, we get with one entrepreneur and he has a really strong network. We deliver amazing results for him. And then his friends notice and then he talks about us and then they work with us as well. And so that's about 80% of where the new growth is coming from. And
Hmm.
then I guess 20% we're also running Facebook and Instagram ads. And that's also like, it's great, but it's nothing beats the referrals. Like you get somebody that's clearly showing like amazing results and they show their friends and there's no like sales call there. You just let me get started. Like, let's go. I'm ready.
Yeah.
Uh, and so that's the main growth right now. I believe we're about a seven-figure company, I guess you could say. And so now the next year, I want to get to that eight-figure mark, and then over the next 10 years, I fully believe that Optimability will become a 10-figure company,
Hmm.
and that's just the big gap in the market when it comes to health, and more importantly, health and AI, and how to bring it all together to really solidify your foundation as a human being.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's just now it's just become so much more accessible of like, no, you can have like customized everything
Yeah.
toward like based on your actual data. So what have you seen for yourself
Mhm.
has been the biggest things like when you realize like, oh, like this was like if you did your DNA test or like what were the most significant things that you realized when you got your data?
I would say the DEXA scan. Are you familiar with the DEXA scan?
I'm not. No, I'd love to learn more.
So it's essentially it's this machine that scans you from top to bottom, almost like an MRI, but it's more for
Okay.
your muscles and bones. And so it shows you every piece of every limb, every muscle, everything that's on your body, the weight and the proportion of it. And so one of the most mind-blowing things that we've learned about the DEXA scan is how imbalanced people's limbs are. So you might not know it, but your left and right leg, um, one is bigger than the other. Your left and right arm, one is bigger than the other. You might have some, bone density issues. That's what we see on the DEXA scan as well. Believe it or not, one of our clients actually came to us with like, some back pain. He's like, yeah, I'm just my back's kind of weird. It's wonky. I haven't been able to deadlift. We did a DEXA scan, and he has like severe scoliosis. I didn't even know it. Like he never even took the chance to like look at it or get it done until he's found us. And so I think that's one of the best things you can do because a DEXA scan is like 100, maybe $200. You can get one every 3 to 6 months.
Hmm.
And it's checking your body fat percentage, your lean mass, your bone mass.
Hmm.
And there you can use that data to keep building. So, let's say you want to gain 20 pounds, but
Hmm.
you also want to lose 5% body fat.
Hmm.
Well, the DEXA scan is going to be the most accurate way for you to collect that data and then keep progressing towards that goal because it's concrete. It's very rock solid. But yeah, I would say the most surprising thing is just like getting guys in the DEXA scan and then they have like so many things messed up with their body. And that's where the masseuse comes in.
Left leg is 10 pounds lighter. What?
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, it's not quite that pronounced, but
Yeah.
it's different enough where there's clearly a muscular imbalance, like in terms of strength. And let's say this compound's over 50 years and now they're 70, 80 years old. And you break a hip, you just can't really walk, you need a cane, or maybe you need a wheelchair. So these are things that you want to address right now when you have the ability to build muscle and fix these imbalances, rather than when it's too late and it's like, what do I do now? I'm
Yeah,
wheelchair bound, right?
for sure.
Yeah.
Is there any I know the other one was the DNA test. What is that test for?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, the DNA test, it's pretty new technology and new science, but the scientists have kind of come down to about 70, 80 DNA biomarkers that
Hmm.
are very proven to influence different parts of your life. And so, we all have a general understanding of what DNA does. Like everyone's DNA is it's your code, it's your genetic, it's what's written on paper for you. There's different DNA that you can kind of shut on, shut off. But here's an example, like some of our clients, they come to us and our doctor has the ability to prescribe HRT.
Mhm.
And if we have a client that has the CYP1A2 genome, then that means they're more likely to have male pattern baldness.
Mm.
And in this regard, you kind of want to pair that up and think, okay, so if you're going to be on HRT and you have this genome, you're likely going to notice like shedding hair, like you might have to, at a
Mhm.
certain time, you might go bald when you're 40, 50, 60 years old. So it's something to consider before you do like, such a life-changing thing. And in that regard, a lot of guys like, okay, I don't want to lose my hair. I want to keep my hair. What else can we do to increase my testosterone?
Mhm.
And then you look at the other, you can either signal more LHFSH, more DHEA for just raw materials. There's different supplements like Fadoja, Shilajit, boron. These are also kind of like raw building blocks for more testosterone.
Mhm.
And so the DNA is really like it's here's what can happen,
Mhm.
and here's what you're more genetically prone to, whether it's Alzheimer's or like muscular atrophy or different sorts of autoimmune diseases. That's where we really show them that this is the possibility. Let's try to prevent this as much as possible, and then kind of build your lifestyle around that, knowing that as long as you're not doing the things that trigger the bad genomes, then you can live to 100, 120 easily.
Yeah, especially with new technology and like I guess like new companies like yours coming out, like it should be up there the 120s, 150s here eventually. Um,
Absolutely. That's my big belief is I think that we will double the average human's lifespan over the next 50 years. Hands down, there's already somebody living among us that will live to 150 years old, just with like how much health has come into the landscape with like media and then just like everything about technology. It's all working together. And yeah, I mean the oldest living person I believe is somewhere in the 120s. I think like that's what we've recorded. So what's another 20, 30 years, especially with all the tech we have now?
yeah, absolutely incredible. And to be able to do it in like it's not just like, oh yeah, like barely holding on. It's like, no, it's like you can actually like improve your health and like building this muscle and strength like while you're, throughout the years. Um, so
Absolutely.
like so that you can like, have mobility and like enjoy life, not just like be waiting to die. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
so we're talking more about the training aspect of things. I know you do customized plans like for each person based on like what is your theory on training? I know it's building strength.
Mhm.
But what have you seen like works the best for people if they were just starting out? Or
Okay,
even
so
like experienced. I mean,
yeah,
that's probably another because like our audience is probably like more experienced or works out some.
yeah. So there's a long-winded answer for this question that I can go on for about half an hour, but I'll keep it short and condensed. Essentially, the way that we approach your training is through energy systems. So I'm sure there's a lot of biology. It's very biology heavy in this regard, but you have your phosphagen system, which is like your 10 seconds of output. Phosphocreatine is the energy source here, and this is like your anaerobic type of fitness, whether it's like a sprint or a maximum lift
Mhm.
or box jump, whatever it is. It's a maximum exertion in a shortest period of time, and that's like your nitro boost if you're thinking about like a car analogy. And then you have your glycolytic system, and this is more of like any effort from 10 seconds to about 7 minutes, and that's like running a couple kilometers, maybe like hypertrophy in the gym. Um, Anything that's within that couple minutes mark, that's your glycolytic system, and then you're using ATP,
Mhm.
but that's still your anaerobic training. And then finally, you go to the more less intense energy system, and that's your oxidative system. And this is where you're using oxygen as one of the fuel sources. You're still using ATP, but oxygen is helping fuel that system. And so all these systems are active at all times. And the way that we like to think about it is fitness is the broad ability to have all these systems being able to be used at all times. So if you think about a bodybuilder,
Mhm.
you know, very conditioned bodybuilder, especially those big open guys, they you can climb up a flight of stairs and then they'll just get gassed after a certain point. They'll need some time, take a minute. Um, and so they need work on their oxidative system. They need better cardio. They need longer output.
Right.
Whereas an ultra marathoner, for example, you ask them to lift up a heavy box or an object, and likely they won't be very good at that, right? So they need on their phosphagen system and just overall strength. So we like to think about it like that in the sense where you need every aspect of fitness, or at least to experience every aspect of fitness and then hone in on like what you enjoy doing and where your specialty and strengths are. But that's just like, our human capabilities. That's what we can do. And so by keeping this in mind, you want to make sure that you really hone in on what's possible. We have strength training, muscular endurance, hypertrophy, all sorts of endurance with like cardio, sprints, 5Ks. And then we combine all of that. We see kind of where your baseline is at. And then we build your macro cycle for the year. So we have a year-long plan, and then we have mesocycles within that. And then we have microcycles. And this is where you really start like reps, sets, exercises. So it's really, it is pretty meticulous the way that it comes down to being built,
Super
but
comprehensive. Yeah, yeah.
it works like incredibly well. It's very science based.
That's incredible. So when do you usually do? I usually do like 90 days. What is the like how do you usually split it up for like the micro versus macro? Like training
Yeah.
or anything that they're working towards.
So I like to go about, especially with like beginner intermediate lifters, I like to go about 3 weeks on as like, you have the progression of weights, intensity, reps, and then you have about 1 week where you're doing, 60 to 70% of that hardest week as your deload. And so when you do a deload, you kind of give your body the time to catch up with the recovery, the adaptation. And you also give the time for the fatigue to settle and just kind of minimize.
Yeah.
And so we do 3 weeks on, 1 week off. You're still working on that 1 week off, but you're not like, you're not going intense, super hard. Yeah, and so that's kind of the 1 month. You need at least 1 month for any sort of adaptation, and then you want at least 90 days of a specific goal, whether it's you want to gain strength or you just want to put on some muscle, so like more contractile tissue, or maybe you just want to increase your 5K time.
Hmm.
So whatever that goal is, you can typically pair one or two goals, but the more goals you have in there, the slower the results will come. So,
Hmm.
you kind of want to just do like one main thing, keep it at that, get that goal, and then move on to the next.
Hmm.
And so that's the way that we approach it. But some athletes, they're really good at recovery. We have guys that go 6, 7, 8 weeks on and then the deload. So
Wow.
it really depends on how good is your sleep. Have you mastered your sleep, your nutrition, everything? And as long as you're on a full service optimization plan, like you can do some pretty incredible things.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about the recovery then, because I think that's that like we haven't really hit on that much. I know you mentioned there's sauna, ice bath, like even massage. What's
Yeah.
your like theory on recovery?
Yeah, I think that the recovery it's largely how you're training. If you're training productively, then a lot of things to do for recovery, like foam rolling and just stretching, mobility is going to help. But also like sauna, I recommend getting in the a sauna like 60 minutes a week, and it depends how you want to split that up. Like you can do one round like once a week, 60 minutes, and you can do like 4 rounds of 15 minutes. Or what I like to do is like twice a week. You go in there for half an hour, and that typically like I walk in one person, I walk out the net and the like a completely whole new person because I'm so rejuvenated, and it's like my muscles they go from being sore to being more like when you're sore and like it doesn't feel good, but then like you're coming out of that soreness and you're feeling a little bit more like, oh, my legs are they're not 100%, but they feel good. Like I can contract the muscles. I feel really like they're recovering well.
Mhm.
And so I come in sauna, super sore. I come out little bit better.
Yeah,
Do
you
that
sweated
twice
out all
a
the
week.
plastics as well. I heard that somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of microplastics within our bodies. So sauna is like, oh man, it's just such a powerful tool. I wish more people had access to saunas near them, or just like even getting a sauna in your home is like so huge. Heat shock proteins and just the ability to get really, really warm is so powerful, like what it does to your body and just all the processes that start to go down. And then cold as well. I'm not super big on recommending cold because a lot of people they don't do it effectively, they don't do it properly. But especially after any sort of cardio or endurance or any sort of exercise, cold will help decrease inflammation and stimulate muscle or stimulate recovery. But if you're doing like strength or hypertrophy, you don't want to get cold right after that because it will impede that recovery and that muscular growth. So it's a little bit intricate. I would just recommend if you could do one or the other, just stick with sauna and then like a 5-10 minute per day protocol for mobility and stretching. Oh, it's going to take you so far. Like you're going to be so much more capable and just injury resistant and really like you can take it to that next level with just those two things. And there's so much when it comes to recovery, like the biohacking and like red light therapy and supplements. But if we're keeping it at like the most needle moving things, it's going to be those two, sauna and then just like 10 minutes daily, some sort of routine to stretch.
Yeah, no, that's huge. I implemented stretching after not doing it for 20 years and like completely changed. Like went from having injuries like once every month to like zero in the last like 6 months. Like
Yeah.
crazy.
So,
That's awesome, man. So what if someone did want to like get in contact with you or even if they wanted to like just start implementing these, what would you recommend for them or how could they like, join you in your mission or actually just like use your company to actually like get their fitness and health on par?
yeah, no, great question. We actually have a community with I think about 140, 150 members where we host Tuesday calls. It's kind of just like ask me anything. And so you get half an hour, jump in there. It's a free community, so you don't have to pay anything. If you wanted to learn a couple things, ask me a couple questions, by all means. And that's you can either access that through our social media. So at Real Martin Nikolov on Instagram. And then if you want to get on our full service program, then you just go www.optimability.com, book a call. We could talk more about the goals, and then figure out how to apply, install our in-person health team with a chef and trainer, masseuse. And so those are the main two ways to reach me. But I'm pretty active on Instagram. If you ever want any questions or anything to reach out about, just shoot me a message there, and that's about it.
Absolutely incredible. Well, it has been a pleasure, Martin. Guys, everything's going to be linked below, so you'll be able to like join his school, actually book a call with him, like actually get your health on par. Like this is going to not only just huge time saver, but like yeah, it's like just from what you were saying is like increase this company by 10x, went from 100K to like $1 million month. So it's been a pleasure having you, man.